Taylor Swift is one of the world's biggest stars. She has loomed large over the music scene for years, topping the charts, selling out stadiums, and performing in front of millions of adoring fans. But are all of her fans just there for the music? Alarming stories have surfaced of fans being aggressive and intimidating during her shows and towards others. Not just security or outsiders, but fellow fans as well. Speculation has risen that maybe there is something darker and much more sinister going on, perhaps even orchestrated by Taylor Swift herself. Assault, violence, and even a terrorist plot have occurred around the performances of one of history's biggest musicians, uncovering a dark side to her life that until now has been largely ignored or swept under the rug. You may have heard of the bracelets that Swifties like to swap with each other at shows as a memento for the joyous occasion and experience they have shared together. However, rumors have emerged of groups of fans selling these bracelets. Nothing is wrong with this, however. The rumor that makes this transaction controversial is in the way it takes place. The sellers are described as older, middle-aged fans targeting the younger fans for the sale. When the buyer doesn't show interest, they are pressured and intimidated into making the purchase. True standover tactics similar to those used by gangs and organized crime. The buyer who says yes to the original price is also charged a higher price at the transaction. Stories like this are starting to emerge from all over the world. Stories of standover tactics are just the beginning of what happens when Taylor Swift comes to town. In early August 2024, Austrian authorities foiled a planned terrorist attack targeting Taylor Swift's Eras Tour concerts at Vienna's Ernst Happel Stadium, scheduled for August 8 to 10. A 19-year-old Austrian man, a reported radicalized Swiftie, had assembled concrete plans involving homemade explosives, knives, machetes, and a vehicle-ramming assault directed at fans outside the stadium. Law enforcement discovered bomb-making materials, chemical precursors, technical devices, counterfeit cash, and weapons. A 17-year-old Austrian was later arrested near the venue. He had begun working for a company providing services at the concert. A third suspect, a teenager, was also detained in connection with the plot. Following confirmation of the threat, concert promoter Barracuda Music canceled all 3 Vienna shows, and Taylor Swift later described the cancellations as devastating, but expressed gratitude for the prevention of the tragedy. Overall, the plot was sophisticated and coordinated, combining explosives, vehicle attacks, and crowd violence, mirroring past ISIS-inspired tactics across Europe, and its disruption prevented what could have been a major mass casualty event.
This extreme behavior is not consistent with the majority of Taylor Swift fans, but demonstrates a level of aggression and intent that can be found at Taylor Swift events by her fans. The behavior is somewhat consistent with the menacing nature of the people committing the standover tactics mentioned earlier. In early March 2024, at the National Stadium in Singapore, several individuals were arrested for facilitating aggressive tailgating tactics. On March 4, concert-goers witnessed groups being physically aggressive towards fans before slipping through gantry turnstiles after someone pushed through and physically held the gate. Eyewitness accounts said they had been threatening and aggressive towards other fans outside the concert prior to attempting to make unauthorized entry into the stadium. Singapore authorities subsequently charged 2 Chinese nationals, Yang Chengguang, 29, and Li Jiawei, 45, with abetting 3 people in trespassing and cheating the event organizer by letting them into the venue without valid tickets. Court documents revealed Yang distracted a security guard while Li held the turnstile, even pushing aside a ticketed fan to allow entry. Li pleaded guilty and was sentenced to 6 weeks jail for criminal trespass. The judge notably referenced Swift's "I knew you were trouble," remarking Li made unlawful contact with a legitimate concertgoer while facilitating entry. In a related case, Wu Zhihong, 54, was jailed 2 weeks for helping another person sneak in with fake VIP merchandise, contributing further to security breaches during the 6-night residency, which attracted over 368,000 fans. The sale of fake merchandise and tickets is commonplace around Taylor Swift concerts, often sold by supposed concert-goers and street vendors in and around the venue.
often using misleading and sometimes aggressive tactics to make sales. In November 2024, Toronto police arrested Denise Teaser, a 44-year-old from Burlington, after she allegedly defrauded at least 28 people by selling fake tickets for Taylor Swift's Eras Tour shows at the Rogers Centre in Canada. She offered tickets for various dates and seat locations. Victims paid via e-transfer, but the tickets never materialized. When buyers requested refunds, she claimed the money was gone. Ultimately, victims lost nearly $70,000 collectively. Teaser was charged with 32 counts of fraud under $5,000 and possession of property obtained by crime under $5,000, 1 count of fraud over $5,000, 1 count of possession of property obtained by crime over $5,000. Later, she was slapped with additional charges including 8 more counts of fraud and possession under $5,000. Authorities also arrested David Lloyd Blake, 56, from Burlington, charging him with 19 counts of possession of property obtained by crime over $5,000. Both appeared in court in February 2025 as investigations continued into more potential victims. Standover tactics, aggressive and violent behavior, fraud, theft of intellectual property are all confirmed in relation to Taylor Swift fans and her shows. But suggestions of something more sinister are beginning to surface. Suggestions that Taylor Swift is not only unaware of these things occurring, but is actively engaged in the continuation of these things occurring. The rumor is that not only is Taylor Swift aware, but her and/or people in her team are facilitating some of these behaviors. Actions such as supplying the fake merchandise, liaising with the aggressive sellers via a third party, and sending actors to pose as fans to cause a scene are all alleged to be going on. An unsavory group of her fans have been recruited to sell fake tickets and merchandise, and then return the profits indirectly to Taylor. The fake merchandise is even rumored to be supplied by a third-party supplier Swift has a financial interest in. If proven to be true, these allegations would surely damage the clean image Taylor Swift has built for years. But why? Why would the world's biggest pop star be involved in behavior such as this? How long has it been going on, and what positive outcome could it possibly have for her and extension, the Swifties? At this point in time, we can only speculate, but the reasons would be similar to why any rich person or organized crime figure commits crimes of fraud and alike. It is simply to get richer, more powerful, and more influential. In the case of Taylor Swift, she is estimated to be a billionaire and obviously doesn't require any money, but the allure of power and influence to be strong. Re-recording her songs to gain control over the rights, cultish-like fans in the thousands, using social media to influence political decisions. Her push for greater influence is evident in her actions and is only increasing. Being a pop star and celebrity, she craves and desires the attention. Creating events such as these keeps her name consistently in the media and across online platforms. Even if she is in the middle of a tour on the other side of the planet, she remains relevant and front of mind to millions if her name appears in the headlines. The more publicity she brings, the more endorsement deals and ad revenue she creates. History tells us that Hollywood loves a comeback. Perhaps there is a long-term strategy for these rumors to be proven true. Taylor to be canceled before rising from the dead to make a miraculous comeback, timed coincidentally with a new album launch, reuniting the Swifties and generating even more money than she ever had previously. Seems far-fetched, but in today's world we consistently see more and more stories proven true of the rich, powerful, and elite manipulating regular people. Is this just another plan in action for another elitist with no care for the average person? How far would she go in her push for extreme wealth and power? Would people still follow her if they found these accusations to be true? Would the Swiftie fanbase dissipate, or would they support her no matter what? It would surely be a deep, desperate, and sad reality if she was in any way involved in the unruly behavior becoming more regular. In a world where fame breeds worship and power demands more power, the question isn't just whether Taylor Swift knew, but whether she needed to. The chaos surrounding her concerts, the scams, the standover tactics, the rising aggression may be the collateral damage of a fandom that's grown too vast, too fervent, too profitable to control. Or maybe, just maybe, it's exactly how she wants it. Because what if the chaos is the plan? When headlines scream her name, she wins. When fans riot, when scandals brew, when ticket scams and violent plots flood the news, her empire doesn't shrink, it expands. Attention is currency, and Taylor Swift has mastered the art of never being off the public stage. But at what cost? If even a sliver of these allegations prove true, it would shatter the image of America's sweetheart and reveal a meticulously polished persona, concealing a far colder, calculating figure. One who doesn't just thrive on the adoration of millions, but feeds off the frenzy, the spectacle, the madness. And in that madness, her power only grows. So now, we're left with one haunting question. Is Taylor Swift simply the soundtrack to a generation, or the orchestrator of something far more dangerous? The truth might not be found in her lyrics, but in the silence behind the screams. And if the day comes when the glitter fades and the curtain falls, what will we see standing behind it? A pop icon, or a puppet master? Only time and truth will tell.